don't cheat though. No cliff notes, homie, we don't need those. Come on and just take the high road. I'm trying to fly though, wanna touch the sky but still lie low. Never watered down even with the hydro. Vaporize the hate so I don't have to keep my eyes low. Hit Oslo, get it in Norway. Cleanse palates with the callous man sorbet. Doorways open up, yup, more cake. Soon enough the sweet turns sour, more court dates. We burn it down though and just live it up. It sucks ass when they ask about a living trust. I don't have one cause I don't have shit, and when I do I'm probably gonna just stash it. It takes time for the interest to make sense. It makes sense for the linguists to invest. I've been blessed with the brain and some rhythm. Those hairs too square, I'm the tortoise and I'll win it. Come on. I'm just moving on. Don't forget about me after I've been gone. I don't want no more. It's outside of your front door. Get on the plane, but no carry-ons, but we carry hope. No politics, but y'all should probably vote. Don't involve me, I live for the stereo. Right side, left side, middle path, adios. No label when you living independent. Rent is too damn high for my pension. Like the lottery, the way it just rubs off. Opposite of Jimmy McMillan, I take the gloves off and take some cheap shots, waiting for the beatbox. I'm throwing down harder than the dude who beat Brock. I'm more able though, but still murderous. On the beat, at least I'm bleeding the encouragement. Living like a rebel, all intents and purposes. Practically a rapper who's broke but still virtuous. At least I hope so, y'all can be the judge of that. I know you're on a special team, so just run it back. I'm just moving on. Don't forget about me after I've been gone. I don't want no more. It's outside of your front door. Yeah. Freestyle Friday number 40. E-double, Black Paisley, Activate Social. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/EWHipHop, twitter.com/EWHipHop. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Halloween, if that's what you're into. Good luck to anybody who's going to the rally to restore sanity.
We are here live for rounds 7 and 8 of Core Racing Cayman Cup. Qualifying will begin to start shortly after this advert break. So then here we are for rounds 7 and 8 of Core Racing Cayman Cup. We are here for the start of qualifying. Looks like Eric is actually going to be one of the first ones to set a flying lap. He seems to be one of the faster ones out of the gates of the pit lane here. Most drivers coming in at a 1 minute currently. Obviously their out lap, it was looking at around 52s in practice, So hopefully we'll see more and maybe even faster out of some of the drivers here for qualifying. 2 rounds here then at Red Bull Ring in Austria. Going to make it very interesting with that second round being a reverse top 10. So those in 10th in the first race will start at pole and vice versa. Giorgio then currently sitting provisional pole with a 1:53 flat. Very good lap time by him. A lot of drivers coming through with 53s. Big jostle of positions as they start coming across the line. Only 53 second laps here. Going to definitely be quite a few laps indeed, especially even with it being 2 rounds, as Gianni, a new driver to the season, that goes off wide through turn 2. Angelo then taking pole position currently with a 53.022. Still plenty of time left in the session, about 7 laps, 7 minutes left in this qualifying session. And Angelo, your pole sitter. Simone then goes 1/1000th of a second slower than Angelo. Angelo, your last race winner at Virginia International Raceway. He's sitting on pole. Will he go fast this lap? No, he does not. He still sits pole with a 53.022. Luca actually goes 4th with a 53.1. Good lap by him at only 1/100th of a second off Giorgio in 3rd. Again, another no-show from the Northern Lights Racing driver of Ross McFarlane. We was speaking to him earlier in the week and he said he was still suffering from a rib injury he had in the previous week. So hopefully he will be back to defend his title. Felix Simoes then goes faster with a 53.017. He is currently your pole sitter. This is all set to change by the end of the session, however. See, Chris Redman, his teammate, is down in 6th. Darren Adams, Luca's teammate, he's down in 12th after not having the best of races at Virginia. Seems to be definitely a lot stronger here. Still not into the top 10 where he'd really like to be. Big shake by one of the Grid Sim Racing drivers in the background there. I'm not overly sure who that was. Excuse me. As Felix is still sitting on pole as he comes through the final corner. Definitely one the stewards may have to have a look at, as Giorgio now sits pole with a 52.982. He takes that pole position from Felix, and Chris Redman goes even faster with a 52.8. The track clearly coming back up to grip and temperature, as well as the tyres. We're starting to see some faster lap times here. So we just clocked 5 minutes left in the session, halfway through. Chris Redman, your pole sitter, with Giorgio in 2nd and Felix Simoes just behind. Angelo then in 4th, he's 53.022 with 1/1000th of a second separating him and Simone as he runs wide through the penultimate turn. That will be the end of his lap. Irwin then in 6th. Good qualifying session by him if he can stay there, as Giorgio then takes pole position from Chris Redman. Big battle between these two. All the drivers not separated by a lot of time. I mean, there's a low 53 by Felix Simoes and then a high 53 by Chris Thorpe all the way in 20th. So just a second separating nearly all the field. Certainly will make for some interesting racing. Francesco then takes 6th place. Doesn't seem to be in the fast and aged livery this week. Not sure what is happening there. However, he took 6th from Irwin. Just 0.006 of a second faster. So very close gaps between all these drivers. Certainly destined to be a fast race, that is for sure. One of the DZ Racing drivers getting off to the side to let Chris Redman past. Good sportsmanship like there. We've got about 4 laps left in the session now. We're coming up to 3 minutes left. Simone Bellon in third with his 52.8. Actually goes faster as Angelo goes even faster with a 52.799. Very quick by some of these drivers here. Martin Palmer down in 10th place. Not the best of qualifying by him, but he has certainly had some very good race runs here at Core Racing. Obviously racing for Apex Predator Racers now. He still sits 10th with a 53.1. Giorgio then come across the line. Doesn't go any faster. As I believe that's Felix Simone's now coming across the line. Doesn't go faster, and neither does Simone. Angelo coming through the final turn. Will he be able to improve and take that pole position? Another 0.02 of a second separating him and Giorgio. So he hasn't got a lot of time to gain. No, he cannot. As Luca has been punted down to 9th after Gianni actually set quite a good lap at 53.09. He takes 7th, a newcomer to this series, as I said before. Thomas Erzen, another driver that I believe missed last race at Virginia, he is back here in 10th place. Martin Palmer obviously being punted down to 11th with his teammate in the sister car, Darren Adams, in 13th now actually. Another driver gaining quite a few positions. I believe that was Matteo Santini, driver who's missed quite a few rounds here at Core Racing Cayman Cup. However, he is back, and he is back strong with a 52.887. As that's a driver off in the gravel. I'm not sure who that was. It did look like a black car, but I'm not sure. As Giorgio then abandons his lap. Matteo just behind. Will he be able to get it onto the front row of the grid? We've got just over a minute left in qualifying. Giorgio coming into the pits. Angelo making it through turn 2. Got Chris Redmond coming through the penultimate corners. As Simone now on the rear of Felix Simoes. Will either of these be able to improve? Felix sitting in 8th. No, he cannot, and neither can Simone. So they both sit back where they were. Gianni in 7th, and Chris Redmond just behind. Chris Redmond actually takes pole again with a 52.779. Definitely seems to be a very 7.9 timing they liked to get round here. As you see, 52.779, then 7.97, and then 7.99, all in the top runners. Certainly very interesting. Giorgio then coming through the final corner on his out lap. As that's Michael Curvers just in front. He's down in 15th place as he then jumps up to 11th just as I say that. Certainly a lot lower than what he was in practice, I believe. However, he is still up there as we then tick to 0 minutes left on the clock. Drivers will finish their flying laps. Chris Redmond will be one of the first ones to finish, as he isn't able to improve. However, it looks like he may be able to go in for another lap. No, they both abandoned. Giorgio diving off into the gravel. Not sure what happened there between those two. Francesco in 6th coming to finish his hot lap. As you see, a big line of cars. We will just try and keep an eye on the scoreboard to see where they come. So we got Jeffrey then going to be the first one of this small chain of cars to cross the line. Is he able to improve? No, he isn't. Not sure who that is who also crossed the line. It was Chris Thorpe. He isn't able to improve. And we've only got Felix Simoes finishing his lap, I believe. We've got Felix, Thomas Erzen and David Monterali to finish their laps. However, he has stopped in the pits. Not sure whether he may have sustained some engine damage or electrical damage of some sort, but he did stop at the end of the pit lane and has been pushed back to his pit box. So the final people to complete a lap will be Felix Simoes and Thomas Erzen. Felix not getting the best of runs through the final turn, and that will be the end of their hot laps. That was qualifying here. Chris Redmond and Giorgio locking out the front row of the grid. As you see, coming through the grid. Erwin rounding out the top 10, being followed by Luca and Thomas Erzen. David Montreal managing to split the two of Martin Palm and Darren Adams, with Jeffrey just behind Darren as well. Eric down in 17th, not the best of qualifying by him. Got Michael Bourne and John Loudon locking out row 11, with Paul McLeod in row 12, as well as Massimio Massetti. That was qualifying here at Red Bull Ring. We will cut to a short advert break before the start of the race. So then here we are for the start of rounds 7 and 8 of the Core Racing Cayman Cup. We've got Chris Redmond then starting from pole position. Definitely going to be looking to get that jump into turn 1. Will he be able to do a Valtteri Bottas and perfectly nail those red lights? We will have to wait and see. As the 15-second board comes up, it shows that the lights will begin to turn on. We have 6 red lights as they begin to start. 3, 4, 5, 6. Engines rise, and we are green flag racing. Angelo getting off to a nice and clean start. Drivers filtering too wide. Chris Redmond going to hold it into turn 1. You see a load of cars jumping in behind. Couple of drivers going too wide through turn 1, all getting through fairly cleanly. Very easy to run wide and do what they done in F1. Coming down through turn 2, it is Chris Redmond leading Giorgio, leading Angelo, leading Simone, and then Matteo Santini just behind. Owen getting past Martin Palm as well as Gianni, unfortunately losing out on quite a few positions through turn 1. He's fighting his way back up and into 11th place as they all compiling down too wide into the penultimate turn. As that's now Thomas Erzen making a move on Gianni. Darren Adams getting caught in a bit of contact as they all compiling down through the final turn. How they avoided a collision, I do not know. However, Darren Adams has been punted right down towards 17th place. As you see, they are all squabbling for position. Jeffrey going side by side with David. Jeffrey got the inside. Will he be able to hold it? No, he cannot. David edges out in front and takes 14th place. Michael Curve is now getting past Matteo Santini. However, they're sticking it side by side down through turn 2. Matteo going to have the inside very sideways through turn 3. How he managed to hold it, I do not know. However, he's lost a position and could potentially lose a position from Francesco Monterali as they come side by side. Looks like Francesco is actually able to edge out in front and take 6th place. So just from that one mistake by Matteo Santini, and he loses 2 places and runs wide through the penultimate turn. However, losed more time than what he gained. Luca then down in 9th place. He's got Martin Palm behind as Gianni now jumps into the pit lane. Luca got Martin Palm just behind him as they come on up through turn 1, sorry. They're going to be battling together. That's Chris Redmond round. That's Chris Redmond round and facing the wrong way down the track. He was leading the race, but a mistake through turn 1 cost him 14 places. That is big for him. He's going to have to fight quite hard to gain any more positions. He may look to get up to 10th and take that race to pole position. Martin Palm then losing a position to Irwin. Irwin not been having the best of starts, however he is up into 9th place as they come on through the penultimate corner. He's got Thomas Erzen just on the rear of Martin as well as these drivers begin to space out. Hines now looking for the inside of Simon. Unfortunately couldn't get past and has to sit behind. Massimio Massetti, after having quite an eventful last race at Virginia as well with his retirement, he's now on the rear of Hines, as that's Michael Bourne now looking under pressure from Chris Thorpe. Chris Redmond now looking to get up alongside Jeffrey, which he does. Jeffrey really squeezing him to the inside. Chris holding it, however, and takes that 13th place. Really good move by him as they come on through turn 2. Really good start. Angelo then taking the race lead from Giorgio, actually. Giorgio was in second, but I believe before Chris Redmond spun out. However, Angelo is now your race leader. 5 laps into this race, and another 31 to go. So about 30 minutes of racing here. 35 minutes of racing. Thomas Erzen on the rear of Martin Palm again. 0.2 between these two as they come down into turn 2. Martin holding on, going slightly defensive there to make sure he has the position. Luca then in 8th, closing on the rear of Felix Simoes. However, Hines is now going side by side with Massimio Massetti. Massimio looking to get the cut back. Very nearly avoids a collision with Hines and slots in behind. Looking to make a move into the penultimate corner. He does. And that's a little bit of contact there caused Hines to go wide and Massimio to lose a lot of speed. Will Michael Bourne actually be able to capitalise, as Massimio is very, very sideways there through the final turn? How he managed to hold it, I do not know. But he certainly did as they come on down into turn 1. As we come to Giorgio in second, closing down Angelo in the lead. Certainly close between all of these drivers here at Austria at the Red Bull Ring. As you see, coming down into the penultimate turn. As we actually will have a quick look at the replay of, I believe it was Massimio Massetti holding it through the final turn. I don't know how he managed this, but as you see, he caused a bit of contact there to the rear of Hines and got very sideways there on the exit. As you see, Giorgio now really closing on to the rear of Angelo. Angelo having a defensive. Giorgio faked left, went right, looking to dive up the inside. Angelo was later on the brakes and managed to hold on to that position. So he holds on to the race lead. Darren then closing on the rear of Jeffrey in 14th place. Already proven to be very close racing between all of these drivers. Hines then having to go defensive from Massimio Massetti. A little bit of contact again, however Massimio somehow manages to tap his door and point him back straight again. However, that forced Hines to go wide and he is off into playing in the gravel, building some sandcastles, and as he decides to go backwards and forwards. As you see, really struggling for rear grip there. It was almost as if he was doing some handbrake turns in a car park of Tesco's, trying to get the car pointing in the right direction. So Massimio now closing on to the rear of Michael Bourne, who managed to capitalise on all of that. drivers using all their entrance curve there to try and get the best of run through turn 1 as they can. Chris Redmond fighting his way up. He's in 13th place now after he spun out for the lead. 0.2 between David and Chris Redmond now as they're coming up to the penultimate turn. It's very closing up here. David having to go defensive. Chris trying to get the best of run as he can. He's sticking it up the inside through the final turn. Can he get it done? Doesn't look like it, however he may have the better run. No, he doesn't, as David now squeezes him to the inside, and Jeffrey is actually going to capitalise on both of these, and they may go 3 wide into turn 1. Not the best of the ideas. Jeffrey backing out on the exit as Chris Redmond and David are banging doors, and that was a bit more of a bang there, and David ends up into the wall. Unfortunate for him, he's down into 16th place now. However, Chris Redmond is up into 12th. Eric then in 15th. Not been having the best of series so far here at the Cayman Cup. He is sitting in the top 15, however. Giorgio now closing on the rear of Angelo. Will Angelo go defensive? No, he opts to go for the racing line. Giorgio pops out into the inside. Sticks up the inside, brakes later, and he gets the move done. However, will Angelo have the run out? Doesn't look like Giorgio clipped the outside curb, so he hasn't got an awful run out. However, Angelo has managed to stick it up the inside, and he takes the race lead again. Good battling between these two. It looks like Giorgio has actually sustained a bit of damage there. Might have been just some cosmetic damage on the side and front of that red car. Coming to Luca and Felix Simoes. Luca unfortunately dropping off a little bit. Top 8, quite a good finish for him if he can stay there. He was holding on to 3rd last race at Virginia International Raceway before unfortunately making a mistake which cost him quite a few positions in the end. As they come in through the final turn. See coming down the long pit straight. Giorgio now looking for another dive up Angelo, which he gets done. Will Angelo get the run out again? Yes, he does. He then sticks it up the inside. And as these two are battling, it has allowed Simone to get up into 3rd place and right on the rear of these two. Angelo unfortunately running a little deep there through turn 2. Michael Curvers, good start by him. He's up into 4th place. Really good start by him. He's got Francesco Monterale, who drove quite an exceptional race last race. He was at the rear in turn 1 at Virginia International Raceway. However, he managed to fight his way back up into 3rd place, I believe. So he is certainly a driver to keep an eye out for. He is certainly one not to back out of a challenge. Felix then running slightly wide on the exit of the final turn. That has allowed Luca to get up in front. Quite comfortably actually, and Luca will now look to get through turn 1 ahead of Felix, which he does, and Felix not really putting any pressure on Luca on that move. Chris Redmond is up into 13th and getting nicely past Darren Adams after that slight sideways action through turn 1. As you see coming now through turn 2, Chris Redmond takes 12th place. As Simone is now going side by side with Giorgio, and Angelo is going side by side with Michael Curvers, who will end up in top. It does look like Giorgio held on to the place and Michael Curvers gained a position, and now Francesco is also joining in this 4-5 car battle. They have now split into a 2-car battle and a 3-car battle. Simone and Giorgio are going to push together, hopefully gain a bit of a gap. However, Angelo, Michael and Francesco will all be battling for positions, and because of that it has allowed Matteo Santini to catch up as well. It's all heating up here in Austria. Matteo looking for a dive a very long way back. However, it is Michael Curvers who comes up on top and takes that 3rd place. So maybe Angelo made a mistake, as he was the leader of this race and he's being punted right down to 4th place, with Francesco in 6th and Matteo Santini in 6th. As you see, with these two drivers pushing as hard as they can to try and get as much of a gap, they've already gained a second to Michael Curvers behind, with Angelo in 4th, Matteo in 5th, Francesco in 5th, and Matteo in 6th. Matteo looking to go for a move into turn 1, couldn't get it done. Felix now looking for a move on Luca, unfortunately couldn't get past either, and he's got Martin Palm breathing right down Felix's neck. He's got Martin Palm just, he's got Erwin just behind, certainly close enough where if one of them makes a mistake, he can capitalise on quite a few positions actually. He could get up to 7th place. David going side by side with Gianni Monaco. David up the inside takes 17th position. As we come on back to this 4-3 car battle, all battling for 7th place. Luca actually managing to gain a bit of a gap to Felix behind. Michael Curvers now coming under pressure from Angelo. Angelo making contact with the rear of Michael. Michael managing to hold it, however. And Francesco will capitalise on Angelo, and may even capitalise on Michael as he comes up the inside into turn 2. Very close to the rear of Francesco, as that's Matteo making a collision with Angelo, and he is round pointing the wrong direction. He's got Porsche Caymans firing at him. He's having to just wait for some clear traffic, which finally appears, but he is now down into 15th place. Michael Curvers now going side by side with Francesco. Francesco sticking it up the inside, and he takes 3rd position back. So it's currently an Italian 1-2-3 here at Red Bull Ring, with Michael Curvers not that far behind, down in 4th place. Martin Palm actually getting past Erwin for 8th place, and he's got Felix and Mose just in front. 0.2 between these two as Michael Curvers takes Francesco's 3rd position back. However, they are side by side coming down into turn 3. Looks like Francesco will have the inside, however Michael has the inside for turn 4. Well, start round the outside as they are still side by side coming down into the penultimate corner. Michael gonna have the inside, however Francesco brakes as late as he dares, and they are still side by side. They've been side by side pretty much through turn 2, and they are side by side through the final corner. However, Francesco managing to get the better run, and he takes 3rd place. However, not for long, I suspect, as Michael is now right on the rear of Francesco as he pops out into the braking zone. Francesco gonna hold on to 3rd after having the inside for turn 1, and he comfortably takes 3rd place back from Michael Curvers. As they come on down into turn 2. Nicely through there, he's got Michael Curvers just on the rear, and Angelo actually catching back up to the rear of Michael Curvers as well. He's down in 5th place. Martin Palm on the rear of Felix and Mose, and Erwin now looking for a move on Martin Palm. As you see, Martin sticking up the inside, he holds on to that 8th place. However, will Erwin have the better run? Doesn't look like it, as Thomas Erzen also closes on to the rear of Erwin as well. So this is turning into a 4-car battle between all of these. Felix goes very defensive. Martin has to swing back to the racing line. A little bit of contact there between the front of Martin and the rear of Felix. Erwin almost capitalised, however had to back out as he now goes side by side with Thomas Erzen, and Felix and Mose goes side by side with the Apex Predator Racers driver of Martin Palm. They all filter back one by one to where they were before turn 1. As you see, Angelo closing on the rear of Michael Curvers, and they come through the penultimate turn. However, we're coming back to Felix and Mose, who now takes 7th place from Martin Palm. He's got Erwin just behind him, Thomas Erzen just behind Erwin, and he's got Chris Redman on the rear of him, and then Darren Adams also joining in this battle. So it's certainly heating up here. Martin going for the racing line, Felix having to go defensive as Erwin looks for a dive very far back. Will he be able to get it done? No, he doesn't get the run out. However, now comes under pressure from Thomas Erzen as they come down the run into turn 2. Thomas Erzen round the outside, very nearly banging doors. However, Erwin holds on to 9th place with Chris Redman just in 11th. Darren Adams, not that far behind, down in 12th. He did take the race victory at the second round of the Cayman Cup at the Nürburgring GT Sprint layout. Will he be able to make it another race victory if he gets up into 10th place to take that pole position? Looks like Thomas Erzen now coming under pressure from Chris Redman. Chris Redman sticking it around the outside. Good move by him if he can make it stick. Thomas Erzen will have the inside for the right-hander. Martin Palm also going side by side with Felix Martin in the inside this time. As you see, Chris Redman having to defend Erwin, very nearly avoiding the collision. Chris Redman very sideways on the exit as Darren Adams was able to capitalise on Thomas Erzen as well. And then there's Massimio Massetti also jumping in on this battle. Chris Redman now going side by side with Erwin. Erwin sticks out the inside and takes 9th place back from Chris Redman. It's been chaos these last few laps between these 5 drivers. Well, really 6-7 drivers. As you see, Angelo now looking to stick up the inside of Michael. Francesco using a lot of inside curb then. I wonder what the stewards will have to say about that. However, Michael is in 4th, Angelo 5th. Luca up into 6th place. Good start by him. He will be in 4th for the start of round 2 if he stays there. Now Chris Redman going side by side with Felix and Mose. Sorry, no, that's Erwin. Going side by side with Chris Redman. Owen unfortunately losing out, and now comes under pressure from Darren Adams, who has to stick it around the outside. Massimio Massetti now having to go around the outside of Massimio Massetti, and he takes 12th place. And Jeffrey not that far behind either. He's looking to jump in on this battle as well. So there's 4 cars there in close proximity. You've got Chris Redman just in front, Felix just in front of him, and even Martin Palm not that far in front of him as well, as it's heating up between these 4-5 drivers. You've got Erwin leading the train, and then you've got Jeffrey at the back as Massimio now capitalises on Darren's mistake through the penultimate corner. As that's Michael Curvers off. That's Michael Curvers off into the grass. Unfortunate for him. As we come now to Erwin, he's gained a bit of a gap to Massimio behind in 9th, Darren Adams in 10th, Thomas Erzen in 11th, and Jeffrey in 12th. Angelo, after his mistake through turn 2, he is down in 13th position. It has been chaos here. 2 of the race leaders have both made mistakes, as Michael Curve is now closing on to the rear of Gianni through turn 2. He's got a lot of work to do if he really wants to make a good round 2. Chris Redman in 7th, closing on to the rear of Felix Simoes now. As you see in the background, you've got 2 drivers battling for position. You've got another 2 of Erwin and Massimio battling for position. These 2 teammates now coming side by side into turn 1. Felix braking earlier to let his teammate of Chris Redman go. Massimio closing on the rear of Erwin, and then you got 4 cars of Darren, Thomas, Jeffrey and Angelo all battling for position. They are separated by just over half a tenth as Jeffrey closes up through the hairpin of turn 2. Matteo Santini, after his mistake, he's down in 15th as Eric Rotterdam gets past. However, Matteo will certainly look for a move past that DZ Racing vehicle being driven by Eric Rotterdam. Luca then up into 4th. Good start by him. Could he make it a podium? He is faster than Francesco that lap, so he's certainly got the pace. However, he will have to be lapping quite quickly every lap if he really wants to catch up. Erwin not being able to get past. Angelo now going side by side with Jeffrey and manages to get past her. And he actually makes it a car length between the 2. And that allows Angelo to gain 12th place. Only 2 more for that reverse grid. Matteo. Excuse me. Matteo then going side by side with Gianni through turn 2. Gianni getting out into 14th place again, as you see. Eric now coming under pressure from Michael Curvers behind. 0.1 between these 2 as they come on down through the penultimate corner. Both drivers very sideways mid-corner there. certainly makes it interesting racing. Massimio back on the rear of Felix Simoes, really closing up on that braking zone. However, having to avoid a collision, he lost more time than he gained. Michael Curver's going side by side with Eric. Michael up the inside, gets the move nearly done. However, Eric fights back around the outside as they come on down into turn 2. Michael gonna have the inside. They are still side by side. Eric was able to brake slightly later. He will have the inside for turn 3. Slightly dips a couple of wheels on the inside, which has slowed him down quite considerably and allowed Michael to get up the inside through turn 4. Massimio then back on the rear of Felix Simoes. Very close between these drivers. They are starting to spread out, however, as we come to about 5 laps left of this race. And we still have another round of racing. Angelo then in 12th place on the rear of Thomas Erzen now. As that's a driver off. That was Felix Simoes off playing in the gravel. He's down into 10th place now and is coming under pressure from Thomas and Angelo behind. These drivers will really be fighting to get that 10th place, as that will mean a pole position for the second round. As they come on down through the right-hander of the penultimate corner as they come through the final turn. Giorgio then, your race leader, that number 132 Fast and Age driver, being followed by Simone Bellon of the 31. Francesco in 3rd, also racing for Fast and Age Racing, I believe. However, he is not running the livery this week, so it may be a backup car or something. It is running one of the standard Porsche Kunos liveries, so it may be a brand new car or it may be one of the older cars as his gets repaired. Luca in 4th, closely followed by Martin Palm in 5th. Chris Redman in 6th, Massimio Massetti in 7th, with Erwin Klassent in 8th, Adams in 9th, Felix Simoes rounding up the top 10 as he's very sideways into the final turn. Erzen in 11th, that's Angelo off into the wall, bounces off and near enough ends back up in a straight line. Very lucky for him. That has put him out of the battle, however. Got Jeffrey in 12th with Angelo in 13th. Gianni in 14th. Matteo Santini in 15th as we come to Martin Palm getting past Luca. Good move into turn 2. Not sure whether that was team orders there or whether Luca may have made a mistake into turn 2. I am not sure. Massimio then closing on the rear of Chris Redman. Got about 2 seconds to Luca in front, so if they continue battling, Luca should have a fairly easy time holding on. As you see, Martin already gaining over 7/10 through the first few corners. Massimio now popping out of the slipstream of Chris Redman. Chris braking later, however, and gets back past Massimio for 6th place. Massimio not backing out. He looks right, he goes left. However, it doesn't look like he's really going to be able to make a proper move. Very nearly into the rear of the white Black Widow racing car of Chris Redman. Not really being able to probably get past. Jeffrey then dropping off from the rear of Thomas Erzen. He was fast in that last lap. However, he is now 0.4 behind Thomas Erzen in that grey and purple car. As we come back to Massimio Massetti actually in 7th. He's right on the rear of Chris Redman. 0.1 now as they come across the line. Chris having to go defensive. Massimio going round the outside. Both break at about the same point. Chris going to have the inside and gets up nicely. However, Massimio should have the run out. He is in the slipstream, however, he's not properly alongside to really make a proper move. Chris blocking off that attack anyway. Jeffrey now back on the rear of Thomas Erzen as they come through turn 2. We've got about 2 laps remaining here. 1 lap once Giorgio crosses the line. Do you see that's Hines there in 21st place. Simone in second with Francesco Monterali in third. As you see in the background, Martin Palm in fourth. It's Luca in fifth. Massimio looking for another move past Chris Redmond. Chris going to be slightly edged out in front. Chris did slightly go defensive. Massimio breaks out early as they contact between the two. Chris Redmond, however, getting off better between the two, and Owen now going to close onto the rear of Massimio, so that gives Chris Redmond his 6th place unless if he makes a mistake. Owen then in 8th with Darren Adams in 9th. Darren not that far behind, he's been having quite a good race so far. He's been keeping out of trouble, that is for sure, and he holds on to 9th position. As we come on down through the final turn, it is Giorgio who takes a round 7 victory with Simone in 2nd, Francesco in 3rd, Martin Palm in 4th, and Luca in 5th. He is very happy with our results, as you see. Chris Redmond in 7th, Massimio in 8th, Owen 9th with Darren Adams in 9th, Felix Simoes 10th, Thomas Erzen 11th, Jeffrey 12th, Angelo in 13th, Gianni in 14th, Matteo Santini in 15th, Michael Curvers making it 16th, Eric Rotterdink 17th, David in 18th, Chris Thorpe 19th, Simon Geimer down in 20th, Hines in 21st, John Loudon unfortunately stopped on the track, whether he's run out of fuel or what I'm not sure, but he will finish 21st with Paul McLeod in 23rd. Very interesting race here at Red Bull Ring. Certainly been a very interesting one, that is for sure. We will look for the drivers to get back into their reverse grid as they will look to put on some fresh tyres and maybe fix any problems they may have had in between with some things such as damage and the such. All in all, a very interesting round of round 7. Certainly will prove interesting for round 8. As we will now go to a short, not advert break actually, we will just be on a break so we can get the grid ready and tyres warm and people warming their tyres up, etc. So we will see you shortly. However, we will be back for round 8 with the reverse grid.
Okay, here we go. Freestyle Friday number 9. Now, before you jump the gun on anything, this is supposed to be like a house party type song like 2004, so sing along when you can. That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go. Owers and tastemakers make us no chaser. Gets the blood flowing like a fucking pacemaker. Cut the middleman and inhale the vapors. Madman, old 10 Don Drapers. Cut the jukebox on, make the woofers blow. We gon' sit here until all them heifers go. Holler at the tens and spend a little dough. Not all them know they can buy their own drinks. Take that work week off, 5 days in the bucket. Fuck it, you got a boss who's a jerk who doesn't. Throw on some Wu-Tang, bring the motherfucking ruckus. There is no pretext, we are living and we love it on a budget. Never mind, we just nudge it to the side. Give the kids a little time, we are living till we die. Focused and we hustle, but we still be getting high. No exception to the rule, do what you do to get by. Cause the clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just just let me go.
At a house party getting jammed up, you were Tony Danza. When they ask who's the fucking boss, put your hand up. Never put it down cause you're banging to the anthem. 2010 trend, put the iPod on random. Wonder why I tried to play this instead of Hanson. Probably cause it gets the people moving like a handgun. Just like the little white fellas up in Ham. Happy Easter from the motherfuckers living in the mansion. Yeah, Freestyle Friday number 9. Thanks to Rat-a-Tat for letting me steal their beat. It's very kind of them. They're nice guys. Anyway, happy Easter weekend, I guess. I'm about to go up to Philly. I'll tell you why I chose this beat. I was driving around, it was real sunny the other day. Made me feel like it was like a Sunday morning after church as a little kid when my pepper used to buy me and my sister Slurpees.
That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me fuck all that shit, just let me go.
Yeah, Freestyle Friday number 9. Yeah. All right. April 16th. Taxes are done. IRS is happy. With you personally, not with me personally. With us as people, probably not. You filled out your census? No, you didn't? Okay, well, you're going to jail. Everybody's sick. And there's a new singer on the chorus whose name I can't mention. Here we go.
I see you sitting on the sidelines. You follow all the guidelines. You wait your turn and follow rules. I live like I got 9 lives. My strength is like what life is like. A battle just like rhyme time. I say fuck all those timelines, but you still watch my blind side.
From the jump, you could tell my attitude was way different than them dudes trying to rap at you. Cause half them dudes would use the same platitudes, thinking this is gonna get the girl laughing soon. Not true, homeboy, but I like the entertainment. You threw so much money that I thought that it was raining, and so did like 15 other guys. Go try the other side. Crazy Town Live playing Butterfly. Bitch stained Ed Hardy shirts. Yeah, them dudes don't like me, it hardly hurts. I just go home, rip another gnarly verse. Think about the pretty girl with the darling purse, and when these thoughts get conjured, they run the gamut. From how she looks naked to chilling in the mansion, cause that's a lot to handle. We scramble all around Hamden, Cunningham, Randall. No throwback on, you like throwback songs. Karaoke with our vocab gone. Next morning wake up, turn right back on. Same clothes as last night, living life like poems. And we still look good when we head to brunch. No pomade, but my hair standing up. Walking to the restaurant, getting stares and such. But it's all good, let them suckers glare at us, cause they
sitting on the sidelines. You follow all the guidelines. You wait your turn and follow rules. I live like I got 9 lives. My strength is like what life is like. A battle just like rhyme time. I say fuck all those timelines, but you still watch my blind side.
season came back, so now we back on. Drop a little hint about a track to rap on. I hate suggestions, but you suggested a lot of stock in you, so I'm quite invested. You piqued my interest, my yields are sky high. Thoughts of grandeur, we playing for my ties. Damn, we eye fly, easy to hate this. Jealousy's tough, we don't speak that language, but we go so hard with our thumbs up. Dumb luck, no, taught ourselves how to get where to go, and we go until we get there. Owing on a jet lag, not yet, but imagination's how we get there. Heck yeah, fist up, you can do your fist pump. I don't have time, cause the grind gets a bit tough. Go Jersey Shore, show you the door. Drop shit you never heard before, because I'm peddling my gift, ain't settling for shit. Every week something new and it's steadily legit. Readily will pedal cause my scooter doesn't fit. Can't coast, no joke, 27 different shifts. Working for a dick is just something I don't get, so I'm doing what I love and avoiding politics. Knowledge and a gift and a drive that doesn't shift. I could never be in park, I ain't flying on a whim. Riding on a hymn, you can tie me to a sin. I am cutthroat, Jesus couldn't help me if he lived. Back and forth motion, I am fucking till I jizz. I don't mean to be explicit, that's how it really is, and I can't stop, this is all there is now. If you like some other guy, go and rock his sound. I can always get down, shit can't faze me. Put your fucking fist up, this is Black Paisley, and I'm done. I'm fucking done. I am just off of it, I'm off of it, I'm off of it, I'm done, I'm fucking off of it. You all of it, y'all all of it, y'all all can live. Alternates, no sitting on the bench, fuck all that shit. No sidelines, no sidelines, no sidelines, no sidelines. Not for me, not anymore, not for me, no not anymore. Fuck the B team, we're the A team. If you used to be on the B team, now you can hop up on the A team, because you fucking awesome.
Facebook.com.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? My name is E-Double, and this is Black Paisley. Here we go. Yeah. I'm at the bar in my jeans and the shirt I got from Target, talking to some pretty lady. Said their blouse is from the forest. I said, great, I don't make clothes, but I could probably make those. Unravel simple stitches when I cut my fucking beat. No tops, no ceilings outside. Old buildings looking like an indie picture that they made for the kids. But this kid ain't having it, cause roofs have advantages. I really ain't a fan of all this rain in my drink, so dump it out and grab a fresh John. On to the next one. Cup runneth over, I am feeling upper echelon. Mistakes have been made and my attitude is shitty, but that's not reason enough to have this party turn pity. So we owe until the sunrise. Loose ends untied, hands stay dumb high, sipping on that Mumbai. Gin and tonic, grease the wheels, lemon lime, the rhymes are peeled. Monsters in the city, so let's run this town like Cloverfield. Raise the roof, love the shakes, let it burn with every taste. Sipping hard until it's easy and you're feeding for the bass. Lights on, cut them off, we don't need them shits at all. We are blind to all their facts, but we are happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. We are blind, blind, blind. We are happy where we are. Robots can't drink, but I know that I can. Even on a double doses I can. Dish that riff-raff, anybody's opiates and arms traded like my veins from Taipan. That's the part of the night where I black out. 2 sheets to the wind, need a smack now. No sheets, no wah-wah, only row phone when this town stop playing Joe Stackhouse. I got my vices, they got the ices, and they booby trapped all the nice shit. So take a knee, man, and drink a schmear off. It's not my cup of tea, so I veer off. I'm on my way now, Vision Quest out. Headphones and my battery is full pow. Fuck a cab cause the music drives me. Solo ride time cause my mind got high beam. The Gatorade soothes me, but I'm choosy. Original colors cause the others never wooed me. No problem, I'm on that fruit punch, can't bully me. I never lose lunch, in other words I rarely vomit. Frequency is that of the Haley Comet. Unless I'm on the mic then it's fairly common. If I capture the stomach like a virgin raise the roof, love the shakes, let it burn with every taste. Sipping hard until it's easy and you're feeding for the bass. Lights on, cut them off, we don't need them shits at all. We are blind to all their facts, but we are happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. We are blind, blind, blind. We are happy where we are. When the sun comes back and my lungs are full of arrogance, recall the night's events. Hope I wasn't acting arrogant, but I probably was. I was sipping on the Seraphim, purchased by some bougie broads who thought I was a terrapin. Goddamn, I'm a turtle with a hard shell, stubborn as a used car dealer with his hard sell. But I ain't buying it, I can still retire this. Put the bottle down, pick it up and get higher. Raise the roof, love the shakes, let it burn with every taste. Sipping hard until it's easy and you're feeding for the bass. Lights on, cut them off, we don't need them shits at all. We are blind to all their facts, but we are happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. Happy where we are. We are blind, blind, blind. We are happy where we are. Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is E-Double, Black Paisley Records. Lots of good things going on. I hope everyone's doing great. I hope everybody saw the Phillies and the Orioles with their nice wins last night. 11-0. You know what I mean? Phillies 9-5. Orioles, nice. Put some runs on the board. I know people hate it when I talk about baseball, and trust me, I don't care about it that much either. That's why it's even that much funnier.
Hello people, unfortunately due to some circumstances we are not able to get into the server for round 2, for round 8 actually, round 2 of Red Bull Ring. So unfortunately that will be the end of stream today. However, you can catch all the action in our race recaps on our YouTube channel of Lux Sim Media, which will be up for both rounds and 7 and should be up by Tuesday. So from us in the commentary box, it was a great round 7. Unfortunately, we can't show you race 8. But from us in the commentary box, we will see you next week at round 9 at Paul Ricard. Goodbye.